Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 just came out this week, and you all have been blowing up my TikTok with all the theories I've been posting. So today, since everyone and their mother have been theorizing about the new lore and discoveries we have discovered in Chapter 3, we have discoveries we have discovered, of course we've discovered them. Anyway, I'm gonna break down. I'm gonna mentally break down. Okay, we're gonna retry that. All right, Poppy Playtime Chapter 3. I'm here to talk about all the theories that we know, and maybe. All right, let's start with the character that I first started doing theories on. Kissy Missy. So in Chapter 3, our player discovers Kissy Missy in Home Sweet Home if we explore enough or get lost enough and suffer in Home Sweet Home like I did. But hey, we can stumble upon Kissy Missy's secret room in Chapter 3. Now, when I say that this secret room has divided everybody in the Poppy Playtime community, I mean it has, all right? I did a theory saying that I don't think that Kissy Missy was a child or an orphan before she became the bigger body experiment of the Kissy Missy life-size giant that we've seen in the game. I thought that she was Patty Hall, and I got that first theory after watching one of Matt Pat's game theory videos. Now, a lot of people are fighting in the comments about how they think that Kissy Missy may have been an orphan, but I'm gonna agree with Matt Pat. And remember that these are all just theories, they're speculation, and theories does not equal fact. I want you to give me your theories and speculations down in the comments always. So if you think Kissy Missy is an orphan or was an orphan, I will let you. I'm not here to argue with you on that. I'm just here to share what I am theorizing, just based off of the evidence that we received about the Patty Hall incident that I talked about in my last video. I believe that Kissy Missy was Patty Hall, an ex-employee who sabotaged the paint machine and then got dealt with in Storage Room B. And then the next thing that we saw, or the only time we saw Storage B, is when the employees were moving the bigger body of Kissy Missy from Storage B to Play Care when the Hour of Joy happened. So I do believe that Kissy Missy was, in fact, Patty Hall, an ex-employee. And I also believe that when she is staring at the picture of the child in the Home Sweet Home in Chapter 3, that may have been one of her old friends that she bonded with as Kissy Missy. And another reason I'm saying that she bonded with these children instead of being that child is because of the drawings that are surrounding that room. It says Friends Forever, and it also has Kissy Missy in all three drawings, so it seems that Kissy Missy was a comfort to the orphans in Play Care, just as Mommy Longlegs was a comfort in the testing center. And to talk about the very end of Poppy Playtime Chapter 3, the heartbreaking spoiler if you have not seen the game at this point, when if you haven't, where have you been? Because that's all I've been talking about here on my channel. First of all, at the end of Chapter 3, when we see Poppy and our main character go down in that elevator that leads to the labs, and also the area where all the bodies were taken after the Hour of Joy, that's gonna be fun and dark and dangerous and gross and scary in the next chapter. First of all, Kissy Missy could have totally fit with us. I had a hand, right? I had a hand. I could have used my little grab arm and pulled it and taken the hand back. Like, what the heck kind of setup is that, Mob Entertainment? You're just gonna make our girl Kissy Missy suffer? I hope that Kissy Missy did not die. I hope that she was not taken by the prototype or OLLIE, and we're gonna talk about OLLIE later, because I'm saving him his little special story for last. But again, it's just a theory. I'm just gonna assume that the worst has happened to Kissy Missy, because let's just say something bad, you know, maybe she recovered and we see her in the next chapter and she's fine and she fought back and she beat whatever was beating her, right? Then we can be happily surprised. But right now I'm already traumatized, you know, from the end of that. So I'm just gonna assume and not get my hopes up, right? I'd rather me not have any expectations and then get my hopes up when I see her healthy, rather than just be delusional and not. I miss Kissy Missy. She didn't deserve she didn't deserve it. It's just that between Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, I had my hopes up that we were going to see Huggy Wuggy, but we did not see Huggy Wuggy. We had a nightmare trauma dream about Huggy Wuggy attacking us, and I really do think that Huggy Wuggy is officially dead now after not seeing him in Chapter 3, but maybe we'll have a good old Kissy and Missy and Huggy and Wuggy reunion in Chapter 4 or 5, because both have been confirmed by Mob Entertainment. All right, enough with the emotional trauma. We did figure out the Hour of Joy in Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 at the very end as well. The Hour of Joy is basically when the prototype somehow convinced, whether it be telepathically or just word of mouth throughout the monsters and bigger body experiments, he convinced all the monsters to kill every single one of the employees, whether they were guilty or innocent, whether they knew about the experimentations or not. And then it has been confirmed that all the employees' bodies were dragged down into the labs, where we are actually headed for the next chapter of Poppy Playtime. But that leaves a big question. What happened to the remaining children? Were they also killed? Or were they also taken down into the labs to be protected and saved by the prototype? I'm not sure about that. Because how would several orphans survive in the factory for 10 whole years when we already see Huggy Wuggy, Kissy Missy, Mommy Longlegs, Catnap turn into skin and bones because they are just trying to survive? And you know how they survived? By eating other toys. Now in Miss Delight's VHS tape that we do find in Chapter 3, Catnap does tell Miss Delight that the children are safe.
Where are the kids? Please. Where are the children? Are they in the same place as the employees?
No.
Are the children safe?
Yes.
Ah. Can I see them?
No.
And that was it. That's all he'd tell me.
But how could the children survive for 10 years in the factory, unless we want to go to a very, very dark theory of they were eating the remains of the adults that were taken down into the labs? So I don't know if the children are still there and alive. I don't know if the children are safe and protected. I don't know if we will see any final survivors besides the people that we've already seen in Poppy Playtime. But let me know your theories down below. What do you think happened to the children? Now, whether Catnap decided to lock Miss Delight and the other teachers in the school due to protecting the children, or just not wanting to be bothered by the teachers, that has not been confirmed yet. But what has been confirmed is that Catnap was indeed the one to lock the teachers inside the school, I think because he didn't want to deal with them. But we find this out through 6 messages throughout the school in Chapter 3, as we see her slowly lose her ever-loving mind. Now, I have seen a lot of people argue back and forth about whether Miss Delight is actually a robot or an experiment, like the other bigger bodies experiments, but I presume, based off of just the fleshy mouth and teeth, I presume that she may have been a person that was turned into whatever she is now, whether that be a robot or like a fleshy machine experiment. We do see that she has joints like a doll, but I mean, other people have been turned into dolls like Poppy. So I don't know if she's technically a robot, but I do feel like she was made out of real people based off of just the flesh and mouth on her face. And to simplify the story of Miss Delight was one of several teachers that were designed or made for the school to teach the orphans. And after the Hour of Joy, the teachers were locked in the school by Catnap. And through Miss Delight's notes, we see that the teachers quickly run out of their food supply, they somehow get locked out of the kitchen in the school, and then they start turning on each other. Miss Delight then makes a weapon out of what seems to be a brain, a ruler, and a lot of school supplies such as pencils, and calls it Barb. That is her mace, her weapon of choice that she used to obliterate and eat the other teachers. It is confirmed both in the VHS tape and the final 6th note that we can find in the school that Miss Delight was indeed locked in the school by Catnap. And then of course Miss Delight meets her fate once we are chased and tortured by her for what feels like over an hour of gameplay. There are also a lot of secrets that you may stumble upon in your playthrough of Poppy Playtime Chapter 3, such as Catnap worshipping his shrine he made for the prototype and Kissy Missy waving down at you from the elevator. I already made a bunch of shorts and TikToks you can find here on my channel if you want to check out more of the secrets, but I'm going to save this video for primarily theories and theorizing with you. And before we continue, I just want to say 2 things. 1, thank you so much for being here. I wouldn't be here without you. And 2, you better hit that subscribe button. I've seen you watch all these theory videos. Hell, I made a Catnap rug. I made a Catnap rug. Subscribe, please. Moving on. All right, we're going to talk about 3 more popular theories that I've seen go around since Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 released. We're going to discuss our main character after reading your comments from my last main character Poppy Playtime Theory video. We're going to talk about the death of Catnap in detail, and we're going to talk about our character OLLIE. After reading your comments from my last video, I've kind of narrowed down who our character may be based off of your comments. I still believe that we are a high possibility of being Rich, a character that we've seen in all 3 Poppy Playtime games get his own VHS tape. We could also be Stella Graber, an employee who worked her way up to the head of Playcare and has also received her own voice line or VHS in all 3 games. Or the third and final option is that we are a mystery character that we have not found any evidence or documents on yet, being a higher up production assistant or someone who worked in the labs knowing about all the experimentation that was going on. To go further into this main character theory, I want to confirm that 1, we are human, as confirmed by Miss Delight in Chapter 3. 2, I don't think we're a child, just because both Miss Delight and Mommy Longlegs confirmed that we used to be an employee, and it's been 10 years since our character was last in the factory. And I also don't think that we were a toy or an experiment, because what were we doing for the past 10 years since the Hour of Joy, before coming back to the factory? I feel like being a toy or an experiment out in the real world would be, I don't know, hard to maneuver without wanting to be tested on by the government. But maybe I'm just thinking too much into it. I do believe that we are a human ex-employee who is not a child, who in fact did work there and is an adult. I feel like either Rich or Stella would hold a lot of guilt for not being at the Hour of Joy. I've seen a lot of good theories about how Stella may not have known about the excruciating testing and experimentation that was happening to the orphans that she was pushing through the testing center, and then once she found out, she decided to leave before the Hour of Joy. Or we could be Rich, someone who was working more behind the scenes, not knowing much about the experiments, but maybe missed a day of work and found out that all his fellow employees and colleagues died on August 8th, 1995. Now, speaking of the guilt, it seemed like we did not have a ton of guilt before Chapter 3. Chapter 3 seemed to give us a lot of our main character development, but we saw the main forms and messages of guilt through Catnap's nightmare, which you all have brought up a good theory as well of maybe Catnap and his nightmare is just giving us a false sense of guilt. Let me know what you think down below. Do you think our main character is actually full of guilt? Or do you think Catnap was planting that guilt to keep us going further into the factory, leading us straight to the prototype himself? Speaking of the prototype, let's talk about the prototype killing Catnap at the very end. Now, for a second we do see Catnap kinda hesitate and seem a little scared when he sees the prototype, and then he goes into worship, but I think that Catnap was expecting the prototype to maybe save him for being his biggest worshiper, just like the prototype had previously saved Theodore Gramble before Theo was turned into Catnap. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I did a whole backstory short video on the history between Theodore Gramble and the prototype, but I really do think that there are several theories that could be accurate to why the prototype killed Catnap. 1, to end Catnap's suffering, because we just electrocuted and he got burnt by trying to use his gas on us, and the gas then, put him into flames. 2, maybe he killed him just to use his body to add to whatever he's creating out of all the experiments, because I guarantee whenever we do see the reveal of the prototype's body, it's going to be awful and terrifying. Number 3 is going to be a little bit darker of a theory. Since the prototype already saved Theo and sacrificed his own freedom of escaping the factory, he kind of was tired of it. The prototype was like, I already saved you once. You messed up, and maybe that's why he killed him. One final theory of why the prototype may have killed Catnap is because he's trying to release the souls in all the bigger body experiments. Maybe our main character was summoned here to kill the bigger bodies as kind of mercy kills to save the souls of the children and other people trapped inside these toys. But I would love to know your theory down below of why you think the prototype killed him. I think regardless of the reason, the prototype is definitely going to be using Catnap's body or parts of his body for the prototype reveal. Now let's talk about the favorite character of everyone's theory discussion since Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 came out of who the heck is OLLIE. Now, to keep this simplified, because there's a lot of detail to go into with the story of Poppy, the prototype, Elliot Ludwig, OLLIE, they're all somehow mixed together, kind of guiding our main character throughout the factory to do their bidding, or, since we were called, Poppy's Angel by Dog Day himself. So I'm gonna keep it down to two options. Either OLLIE is the prototype, or OLLIE could be an orphan. Now let's talk about this. If OLLIE is actually an orphan, he still has the voice of a child who knows quite a bit about our movements, the factory, and details of the prototype. I don't know, just overall, OLLIE gives me very weird, very strange, not to be trusted vibes, the same way that Poppy has in the past. Let's just play with the idea that he's a child, or one of the orphans that was saved during the Hour of Joy, if there are still orphans and children somewhere in the factory that we have yet to see. If OLLIE was still a child, that means that he could have been one of the babies that we did find cribs for in Home Sweet Home. So that is logical, right? He would grow up under the care of the prototype or whoever else is remaining in the factory. Now he's anywhere between 10 and 12 years old talking to us, since it has been 10 years. But again, that would be if there are still children alive. But the one that I'm leaning more towards is that OLLIE is not to be trusted, and that OLLIE may be just a voice that the prototype was using. In Chapter 3, we are shown that the prototype can mimic other people's voices, so he could be OLLIE in that sense. What do you think? Do you think that OLLIE is a strange child that's remained all these years in the factory? Or do you think that the prototype is OLLIE? Regardless, I'm looking forward to reading all of your comments below, just like I did in my last theory video. If you have not checked out that video, you can watch it right here. And please do not forget to hit that subscribe button, because it means more than you know. I want to make YouTube my full-time job, and I'm doing that with your help. So thank you so much for all the love you've given me on all my Poppy Playtime videos, and let me know if there are any other horror games or theories you'd like me to play or discuss on my channel. But you can call me Phoebes or Phoebe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!